Hello, you're listening to Texas School Off the Record, and I'm your host, Cris Duncan. Today I'm joined by Erica Manning. Erica is an Ohio based portrait artist and educator. She incorporates creative storytelling imagery into her business to set herself apart and is an industry leader in her genre of high school senior photography. Her creative images have been featured in Professional Photographer magazine and have garnered many international awards, including the 2024 IPC Diamond Medalist and in 2026 the IPC Platinum Medalist. And she's also a PPO Photographer of the Year. Welcome, Eric. It's a pleasure to talk to you today.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yes. So, in your bio, you talk about creative storytelling imagery, and I feel like that's a really popular thing now. And I've interviewed other people that kind of do a similar, maybe it's a similar thing.
And
What is creative storytelling imagery to you? How do you define it? And is this something you've always done?
to answer your second question first, no, it is not something I have always done. I started my business about 15 plus years ago, very much in the same way that many women do. Their husband gives them a camera, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. So I quickly became obsessed. And then I also quickly realized that it was a very expensive hobby. So therefore, I made it into a business so I could afford to keep doing it. But even though I have a business degree, a marketing degree, my business acumen back in those days was not that great. I think that my business strategy at that time was more of a let's just be cheap and take everything that comes your way. I was, considering myself successful, but I was running myself ragged. I was go, 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 go. I was not profitable at all. But honestly, sometimes I didn't even know it because I didn't even know my numbers. I didn't even look. In 2016, my mother became ill, and through a series of events with her, between trying to run a business and take care of her, I realized a couple of different things. And the first thing was um, the importance of storytelling, and that was partly because I documented, the last days of my mom, and it was very impactful on me, impactful on people who viewed the images. And I just realized, you know, what a gift that we have as photographers to be able to tell stories. At the same time, I realized that the way I was running my business was no way to run a business. I was exhausted and barely making it as a photographer. So those two things combined just caused me to really rethink the way that I was doing business and just life in general. Like, what is this all about? What are we doing? At that point, I started to invest in my craft because I knew that I had to raise my prices. And for me, the difficulty in that was believing in myself and believing that people would pay higher prices for my work.
Well, I'm going to
So
interrupt you there. Sorry to interrupt. I think that's a
no,
great thing because I had this question going since you said, "Oh, I just started out cheap." Do you
yeah,
do you think that's a mindset? And since you mentioned that, well, I don't have a lot of experience, so I don't have value. Do you feel like that's, and have you
yes.
seen that with people you've started
Oh,
educating? And
yes, yes, for sure. I think that, I mean, regardless of how many years someone is in business, if they don't feel like their work is worth it, whether it is or not, um, they're not going to charge what they're worth.
yeah,
And I think it's, a problem in our industry because there's so many people out there who just they don't have the skill, or they do have the skill and they don't have the mindset that allows them to charge what they're worth. And therefore, a lot of businesses will go under, or people will run themselves into the ground, which I was
right.
real close to doing that. I mean, I might argue that I did, before I finally was like, no, I can't do this. So that's when I started investing in my education. And And then I also started entering competitions. And I think the competitions really, really propelled me into a better skill set in my photography because it's measurable then. I think that photography is, it's an art. And so what one person thinks is good, another person may not. But then entering into these competitions allowed me to be measured by leaders in the industry, and then just kind of give me a feeling of, okay, I did this well this time. Why might I not have done as well as I think I should have, and what things can I do to get better? And to answer the first question you asked way at the beginning, storytelling was a huge component in doing better in the competitions, but also just, you know, telling the story of my clients, telling my own personal story. Images are just more compelling when they have a strong storytelling component. So that's when I started to dive deep into, well, what makes a good storytelling image? Like, what are the things in an image that help tell a story? And that's when I really noticed, first of all, that I did better in competitions, which is not necessarily my goal, but it also helped really set me apart from anybody else in my area, because there were many people doing what I did at the very beginning, which is just take pretty images. And it was just more of a gut feeling, as opposed to, okay, what am I trying to say here in this image? So it helped me both in my business with my regular clients, and it also helped me just elevate my craft and create more compelling images overall.
So I think the audience is asking, what did you learn makes a great storytelling image? And what,
There are lots and lots of different components. Just the um, the things that you can use, the tools that you can use include, like, lighting, for example. There are different types of lighting, and obviously a lot of people know what these different lighting types of lighting can do. However, like, one type of lighting might be that moody, Rembrandt lighting. That's going to have a very different feel and tell a different story than, say, high key lighting. And so, it depends on what your client is like, what story you're trying to tell, what the overall feeling of the image is, as to what lighting. And that's only, one of the tools. There are a lot of components of visual literacy that help tell that story. And this is something I love to use. Composition, what's actually going on in the image, the facial expressions, all of these things combined can really help make that story more compelling, and therefore get your point across more effectively.
yeah. So dive a little bit into this transition. You tell this story in a couple minutes, and it's easy to think, oh, this was like, oh, I went to this conference, I entered a competition, and boom, I'm a storytelling photographer.
Right. Right.
And I'm sure that was not the like.
No,
You didn't wake up and click your heels, and there you were.
no, no. I
So
mean, yeah, I mean, in the competition realm, and portraits in general, it took a lot of practice. It took a lot of, um, trying and failing. And I entered many, many competitions before I even got close to getting a silver. But it was that goal of, trying to reach the next level that kept me in it. And so I think it's very important, especially when you're starting out in the competition realm, to not get discouraged when, you're not out of the gate having all the success. When you get those, image results back, and you end up, instead of saying, I stink, or I can't do this, um, taking a look at it, an honest look at it, and saying, okay, what can I do better? Like, what did I learn from this? Why did that image not do as well? And I think that I always, when I enter things, I get the feedback from the judges, because again, they're masters in the industry. They have been doing this for years. They study and know what makes a good image. So to hear someone else who knows tell you what they would have done differently, um and you might get different answers from different people too, but that at least gives you a, okay, this is an area I can work on and get better, and then next time around hopefully do better with my images. And again, the goal of mine is to tell the story anymore. It's not necessarily to get a diamond, because that doesn't always happen. um but to be able to put it out there and for people to be like, oh, I so resonated with that, that to me is such a reward for the work that I've done.
So, so competition was a tool, and
Yes.
going into furthering your craft through some education was a tool.
Yes.
Um, how did this, I guess, pragmatically, you still have to go and you're still doing a business now.
Yes.
So what was the transfer like from your to your clients? I would think your community started to notice and your clients
Right.
started to notice that.
Yes, absolutely. So my bread and butter in my business is high school seniors, and many high school senior photographers will have a model team, and they'll do certain types of shoots throughout the year. I decided, because I love to enter competitions and I love to create these storytelling images, that I would create a model team that basically would become my pool of talent that I could use to uh, to tell these storytelling images. The benefit to me is that I always have at my disposal this team that I can say, "Oh, I would love to do this. Are you interested?" The benefit to them is that they will get images for their senior session, or for their senior gallery, that are different than anything else that's out there, because they are these creative storytelling images. So um, I have found a lot of success just in interest in being, either on my team or using me as a photographer, because I am doing something completely different. I am creating these images, and many of the images are telling stories of the difficulties of being a teen, or the image that received a Diamond Award was this kid who loved working on cars. And so, I had him bring some tools to the studio. And a week before, I went out and took a picture of the caddy that was in his garage, and put this all together. And he was so excited, because that's his story, that he spent his entire life since he was a little boy working on cars with his stepdad, and that was his car. And so it took the normal, dare I say, mundane, senior photos that you see everywhere, and it elevated them, and people start to notice. So, am I doing those creative storytelling images with every senior? No, because they take a lot of time, and I need to be profitable. But my senior team, I will do that with, and then I do have the option for people to add those creative things to their sessions, and to help make that profitable. It's an add-on. um, and so it ends up being, more than anything, it ends up being a marketing tool, because it sets me apart than other photographers in the area.
I'm really glad you said that because I think we see photographers like you, and there's some others that enter these competitions and they get notoriety and recognition for this storytelling image, and then you teach on that, and we're even having a podcast about it, and
Right.
some of the people think that's all you do.
Yeah.
right? And it's no,
Yeah.
that's just maybe the forward facing thing you do, but you're still, I'm not going to say mundane, but you're still taking a traditional, probably
Yes.
cap and gown picture, and you're
That's
still
probably
doing,
a better way to describe them, traditional
yeah, you're
versus
still doing a
mundane.
traditional senior picture, and you may go to in the studio in front of
Yeah.
a modeled muslin background. I mean,
Yeah.
and this is like, so you're using these from a business standpoint as a marketing tool, like, whoa, Erica's work looks different.
Right.
And that brings them in the door,
Right.
and then
Right.
they can offer you more money to do
Right.
this as an add-on,
Right.
right? Is that,
Right. Right. But I will say that even in my traditional images, the work that I have done with the compositing and with the, the creative stuff has made that better. It spilled over into my traditional images because I'm just better at editing, and I am able to see things in images that I wasn't able to see before because I just didn't know. And so it has helped me in every aspect of my business. But as far as, making a ton of money doing my high school, senior creative imagery, it is, yeah, it's not necessarily, that's not where I'm making my money. It's more of a marketing tool.
for sure? Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that, because I don't want any of the listeners to get this illusion like, oh, all we do is this, which, and there, and you, I'm not saying you couldn't get by on that, but
Yeah. Right. And
yeah.
there are some photographers that do. Um,
Mhm.
but honestly, that would like pigeonhole me into a certain type of client. And I like to consider myself an inclusive photographer, not an exclusive photographer. So I try to have a range of packages and that sort of thing. So, you know, somebody who doesn't have an unlimited budget can come to me and get good quality images. And I don't want to exclude them from being able to hire me as a photographer.
Yeah. Well, pardon the analogy, but even great steakhouses sell chicken fingers.
That's good.
And I interrupted you early on, and I didn't, I might have steered you off where you were going. So, but we've had a great conversation. You've mentioned several times just this mindset, and I kind of stopped you like, whoa, whoa, let's go back and
Right,
origin story. But
right.
um, to enter competition, you've got to, I mean, is your mindset like thick skin, like nothing's going to bother me? Is your
Oh gosh,
mindset
I'd
like,
love to say that that's my mindset, but
you
nope,
know, no,
false.
there's,
Um,
there's been nights of crying, but
so
yeah,
for me, it's just believing that it's possible, believing that I can. Because especially when you see other great work out there and, wow, that's amazing. And for some people, that might be I'll never be able to do that. But um, instead of saying, I'll never be able to do that, that is possible. Somebody did that. And I think I can do that too. And let me figure out the steps it's going to take to create an image, not, exactly duplicating that, but creating something that is, from my heart and my talent. And so that's, I think, where it started was just believing that I could. And I think, that's a great place to start. For me, I did, and then I started to see success, both, in a variety of organizations. My images were getting high accolades, and then I began to teach, and my business was doing better than ever. And so, you're riding that high and you're thinking you're all that in a bag of chips, but life and business and all of these things, what ends up happening is that, there's ebbs and tides to it, and it's not always up here. There's going to be moments that are down here, sometimes in the same month, and sometimes in the same day. So, you know, um, for me, what had to happen, and I've kind of mentioned this a couple times, I stopped basing my success on um, the awards and the achievements. And I started to fall in love with the process of what I was doing. Um, and and therefore that, the disappointments, the need for thick skin, um, it's not as great because if I, work on this storytelling image, like last year is a good example. I created an image, not having anything to do with seniors. It was my crazy pets. And, it was 100% like the story of my three animals. And it was funny and it was fun. And I loved making it. And I put it out there in the world. And at IPC, it got basically it came in second. I lost at the very end in my category, um, which, might have been looked at as oh, I didn't go all the way. But honestly, it I love that image with all my heart and soul because it is 100% a story that I love. And so the success came in the process of making it. And the success comes in that it's a huge print in my kitchen. And, that is where I measure my success. So if I can find joy in the process of what I'm doing rather than, well, this year I got this and this year, those things are great. And I'm not going to say that I don't enjoy them, but I don't place that as the goal or the litmus test for my success because that would make me very unstable because it's not always like that.
I like how you said you're measuring success in the process. So, do you like to, and you mentioned practice earlier, you setting out time? Do these, like, I want to try to once a month or just for
Yes.
competition season? Or does a
Uh,
client come to you and say, oh, you've just given me a great idea. Can we
yeah.
collaborate on this?
Little bit of all of that. I try not to only have it like, pushed to competition season because honestly, I love it. It breathes life back into me. So I've often called it my therapy. Um, so I try to spread it out. I try to have things that I'm working on. Busy season when, senior busy season rolls around, I'm not doing as much then than I am the rest of the year. But I do try to spread it out. And sometimes it's you know, I come up with an idea and I just can't wait to make it come to life. And so I'll start, working on gathering the components. But sometimes it takes a while too. Like, some of these images, I have photographed, excuse me, I have photographed, I have all the components or many of the components, and I just kind of putter away at it. When I have a free hour or 2 hours, I'll start working on it and then I'll put that away and I'll do, the things that are making me money. And then I'll come back to it. So, sometimes I'm able to knock them out and get it done in like a week. Sometimes it takes months and months and months, you
When you
know?
say when you say components, can I assume these are small things you're photographing and
Yes.
compositing into
Yes.
an image with your model?
Yes, yes. And I might be touching on a sore subject here, but I personally don't use AI. And I know some people who do it beautifully, do it well. For me, first of all, I enter a lot of competitions that don't allow it at all. So, there's that part of it. But second of all, I find that part of the joy is finding the components. Um, for example, I did a picture of a little girl. A client came in, and she was adorable, blonde curls, super cute, very expressive. And her grandmother brought her in, and I said, "Hey, can I take a picture in this cute little coat that I found at the thrift store a couple, months ago?" So I had an idea in mind. I took pictures with them together, and then I ended up collecting like different pieces and parts. I had to go downtown to a hotel and take a picture down there. I had little vintage suitcases I had to find. And I just pieced together this. I mean, it literally took me 8 months to get all of the different components to put that into a composite image. So, like I said, sometimes it's a super fast thing. Sometimes it takes months and months, but that's part of the joy.
Yeah. Well, it probably keeps you excited and fresh just seeing something like, like someone else might see, oh, this is just a crack in the wall. They're like, oh, that's the perfect crack that's going to be part.
You're right. Right. Or even on vacations, like when I go on family trips, I'll see an arch somewhere. I'm like, that would make a great background. And so I'll take a picture of that, knowing that someday it could be composited in. And I've done that a lot of times, you know? So you're 100% correct. It keeps me fresh. It keeps me excited. It keeps my eyes open at all times for things that could potentially be part of a story.
Yeah. We are coming around a time. I'll have to keep these a little bit concise. So before we talk about what you're going to be teaching at Texas School in on our Saturday, April 24th, 2027, you mentioned earlier you kind of broke into some education,
Yes.
and I think a lot of photographers just try to do this on their own. And you're an example of like, hey, so and you're talking about PPO, that's your local or your state association, I'm assuming. So
Yes.
how is that coming in? Are you going in? I think people are just scared to go in because they feel like, everyone's going to look down.
As a student, scared to go in as a student, or
just as a member, like, hey, I'm going to check this
oh
group
gosh.
out. Or
I honestly, this is a hill I'm going to die on. I 100% believe that every photographer needs to be involved in some sort of organization, whether that be your local guild, whether that be something like PPA. I really firmly believe that, first of all, the education that you can get through these organizations, second to none. Secondly, the community. And I don't think enough emphasis is put on community in this industry. Because when I was fresh, I'll do this all on my own. I'll learn everything online. I'm not gonna, go to these big conferences that are so intimidating. And I was truly missing out, because some of my very, very best friends are people that I have met at IPC, through imaging, through PPO, through, WPPI, other places, Texas School. I'm telling you what, Texas School, to me, because of it's a little more of an intimate setting, and it really feels like family. Like, and I've only gone 2 years, and I have been blown away both times. And that it's the community, the feeling of camaraderie, and unbelievable. And then the way things are taught through the week, the deep dive into the different topics, because I think you can learn only so much in an hour and a half, which is what you get at some of the bigger conferences. But to really, really get into any given topic really sets this conference apart. So I love Texas School.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that unsolicited.
You can pay me with that one.
Well, that's what I do think what makes this Texas School difference from the education side is the deep dive. And several years ago, we started adding, they were called pre-cons. Now we call them Saturday classes. There's a Saturday before the week long.
Yeah.
And you've been invited to teach one of these Saturday classes about your storytelling, high school senior imagery.
And I am thrilled. I'm so excited to be able to do this. I can't wait to be able to show people the different components of storytelling images. We also will get into a little bit more about this high school senior team and how that works, and how, people can make that work for themselves. We also will talk about processes, and I didn't talk a lot about that, but honestly, it's the processes that are put into your business that truly allow you the time to be creative. So in order to be, profitable, and to also have time to do the things that bring you life, like creative image making does for me, those processes need to be in place. So I love to talk about that as well. So all of that will be included in my
Erica's class, Standout Storytelling Senior Imagery, will be at Texas School Saturday, April 24th, for a Saturday class. Of course, there's also the full week of Texas School, April 25th through the 30th. You can learn more about Erica and our other offerings at texasschool.org. If you happen to find this after Texas School 2027, it comes around every spring, and you can always find us at texasschool.org or at Instagram at TXSchool. So before we sign off, Erica, where can the listeners learn more about you and see some of this amazing work?
Thank you. My website is Erica, ERICA, Manning, MANNING, photo.com. My Instagram handle is at Erica Manning Photo. And then Facebook is Erica Manning Photography. So hope to see y'all there.
Thank you so much for speaking with me today, Eric. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.